I'd like to welcome everybody to July 14th, 2025 meeting. We'll be opening the meeting. Turn this thing over to Miss Kimberly. Go ahead, please.
I, Jared Burns,
I, Jared Burns,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and uphold
support and uphold
the Constitution and laws of the United
the
States
Constitution and the laws of the United States,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of North Carolina,
the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent with it,
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of the office of council member
discharge the duties of council member
for the town of Sunset
for
Beach
the town of Sunset Beach
to the best of my ability and judgment,
to the best of my ability and judgment,
that I will strive to serve the public with integrity
that I will strive to serve the public
with integrity.
with integrity. Thank you.
Act always in the best interest
Act always in the best interest
of the community
of the community
and honor the trust placed
and honor the trust
in me by the citizens
in me by the citizens
of Sunset Beach. So help me God.
Hey. Let him sit down. Then we can go. All right, now we'll be seeking to go in closed session pursuant to 143, 318, 11A3 to consult with the attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged, and pursuant to 143, 318, 11A6 to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, condition of appointment, or conditions of initial employment of an individual public officer or employee or prospective public officer or employee, or to hear or to investigate a complaint, charge, or grievance by or against an individual public officer or employee. Do I have a motion to go in closed session?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Closed session. I'd like to welcome everybody out. Do I have a motion to come out of closed session?
So moved.
moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Too many of us.
Thank you all for coming out tonight for our July the 14th, 2025 regular council meeting. Does any member of council have a conflict of interest or the appearance of a conflict of interest with regards to any item on the agenda? If so, please state at this time. Mr. Nern?
No.
Mr. Burns?
No.
Mr. Hargrave?
No.
Mr. Corbett?
No, sir.
Mr. Boswell?
No.
All right, moving on. Approval of the draft agenda. Does any member of council have anything that needs to be added or anything that we need to do before we approve this agenda?
No.
Everybody's good?
No.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the draft agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
General council discussions. Any member of council have anything they'd like to bring out? If so, please go ahead. Mr. Hargrave, you ready?
Yeah, let me give a quick update on the parking situation. Remember last meeting, we emphasized and tried to emphasize to everybody that in order to get the updates on parking, the best thing to do is go to our webpage, go to the home page, obviously, in the webpage, hit the parking tab. It says beach parking. There's a tab there. Hit that. It'll take you to a link. In the link question in red in the next screen that comes up is labeled frequently asked questions regarding the parking plan. That's where you'll find the latest information. We put stuff together, we put it up there first, so people will learn if you pay attention to it, and if you go to it, you'll learn exactly what's happening in parking and brings you right up to date. For example, the last two things we put in there, Lisa's going to talk about one of these, but the chart is up there now. The chart is simply a chart that will be a running chart. It will be added to each month. It will have one column for revenues from paid parking, and the other column will have expenditures for the parking plan, updated on a monthly basis, and Lisa's going to talk about that a little bit. Remember now, this is pretty darn important. Remember, I had a question on this 2 days ago. The parking plan will be paid for, not by town taxes. It'll be paid for from revenue of paid parking, That's awfully important to understand. Nothing new you'll find in the budget. Somebody asked me, is there anything in the budget? And how I started this conversation. Anything in the budget regarding the parking plan? I said, no, there is no need to have that. It will be paid for by the parking revenue from the paid parking. The second thing that's there, and that's the last thing you'll find on the top of that area, is an announcement really for Main Street property owners and any other citizens, obviously, regarding the bid process for construction of designated parking along Main Street. And after working with NCOT and approval from NCOT, they have approved our proposed parking plan for Main Street. The town has been given what they call an encroachment agreement for bidding purposes that was given to us from NCDOT. An encroachment agreement is the right to use their right-of-way, for parking. We are now able to go out for bid, and the bidding process opened on July 1st for this plan. And Lisa may talk about that also. I'm not sure if you're going to, but I encourage all citizens, again, to visit the website under the frequently asked questions, review explanations of this process. You got quite a long thing there explaining what happened, how we are bidding, and the timeline for bidding. At this time, I'd just like to really deeply thank the property owners on Main Street who responded to our letter that went out to them earlier this year, outlining our initial thoughts on designated parking on Main Street. Now, the parking plan that we have now has really changed from that initial letter. But their responses and the responses of all people along Main Street, the questions they asked, the emails they sent us, the phone calls, the individual meetings we had at homes, allowed us to hear the thoughts of the people of Main Street, both positive and negative, regarding the initial plan. We just want to take and say thank you to the people on Main Street for their patience as we work through all of that. Some of those very varied communications made major adjustments in the initial parking plan, and at this time, it is a very different document that you saw on the website. We are pleased to report, I think we'll be able to do this week. We're going to put up on the website the engineered parking plan for Main Street that everybody can take a look at. This plan, again, strongly reflects the input from property owners all up and down Main Street. So in conclusion, just get on the website, get the updates. We got 2 more updates going on this week. And so that's how you get the latest news and know what's happening. And don't hesitate to respond to anything you see there. We're always open for questions, always open for comments, always open for suggestions. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Go ahead.
I'd like to talk to the council about an issue that came up this weekend with the hours of the closing and the opening of the public restrooms on the island and at the park. I will remind council that this has been a discussion that we started back in February and March with the budget, when we were talking about bringing custodial workers, employees on staff, full and part-time, that would manage those, the facilities and make sure that they are kept clean and open for those times. We posted notices on the bathrooms for the better part of a couple of months, and we went to the July 1 date, which starts our fiscal year, and these employees were hired at that point, and we went with those 8 to 8 hours. Over the weekend, it became an issue. So I decided to allow the police department to close them at 10 on Saturday and Sunday, and for them to be open at 8 a.m. So I would just like to get some feedback from the council, our reasonings, and I will bring up Matt and Chief Claymore to discuss the issues that they see with them being open after dark. And just to remind the council of the reasonings that we talked about during the budget processes. So Matt, if you want to come up first, please.
Just waiting for questions. Or do you want me to go
Well,
ahead and
we-
talk about why?
Talk about why all the vandalism and the mess and
Yeah, so it all started, like I said, it all started in February with the budgets and everything. The 2 full-time, 2 part-time employees that we were going to look to hire. It was just convenient for us to, when they're coming in at 8 o'clock, the full-time employees, opening them up first thing in the morning for them. And then at night, having a final clean and closing them. That way we know the only way they're getting in there is to be broken into. We've had trouble in the past over the years. I believe I talked with Dustin today. We got them in 2012, started the process of buying these temporary bathrooms. And we've had numerous problems over the years. I've been here for 7 years. Nothing during the day other than obviously clogged toilets. At nighttime, there's been issues, partitions broken, sinks smashed in, urinals ripped off the walls. And no, it is not frequent, but it does happen. We've had the police come in for the past however many years and closing them, but they can't always close them at the exact same time because they may be on a call, which is way more urgent than closing a bathroom. But with us leaving them from 8 to 8, they're still being closed in the daylight. And I'm not an expert, but I assume that nighttime, it's more frequent for break-ins and vandalism than during the day. So that was the reasoning behind closing these bathrooms at this time.
So Matthew, we didn't have any hours before? There was no,
The
was it
contractor,
9 o'clock or 10 o'clock cut up?
there was no designated time.
So
ever.
they could be open, if the police were busy, they could be open all night.
They could have been busy. They may have forgotten with already being on calls and things like that they could be open all night. We have this new program now, Text My Gov. We've had it for about 2 years. I get emails at 1:30 in the morning from folks in the bathroom saying that they're locked in or something's broken, this is overflowing, things of that nature. They shouldn't be like that.
No,
So,
I agree with that.
and getting called in at that time of night and finding out that there's nothing wrong.
Mhm.
It's,
Well, my issue is you.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Yeah, my issue with it is it's that we have so many people going to the beach early now because of parking. Everybody can't afford the parking, so some people, especially a lot of our citizens, go earlier. And we do have a lot more people after 5 now that's staying up, even till dark.
Right.
And you know, as dark as dark. Right here, right now, at my house, it gets light 6:30. There's a lot of people on that beach. I know the Turtle Patrol do their early patrol. So that's the only issue I have. I just don't want a bunch of people to start using our dunes or be in our gazebo area and start doing that. That's the issue that I have with it.
and I completely understand that, and not trying to go against you, and I know other folks feel this way too, is we don't have any bathrooms on 40th Street or the East End. So
We ain't got no parking down there, so there ain't much down there anyway.
well, it's not as much, but I mean, people are still going to either go in the dunes or
Yeah.
in the ocean like we all used to.
But the main
And
point,
one thing that we talked about earlier today when Matt and I were brainstorming and trying to come up with a solution that still protects our assets in those restrooms, because anytime any type of vandalism happens in any of those units, it's costing the town money. We came up with throwing the idea around of putting a line of porta toilets, porta johns out there that will be available 24/7. You better put a couple at
that wouldn't
each
be
end
good
and-
for the town. That'd be a eyesore for
Oh,
sure.
Yeah.
years and years and years ago, all that was there was porta johns, and that was that way for how long, Dustin?
Until 2012.
Yeah, till 2012, there were porta johns were the only thing
There's
that
a lot of
was
things
there.
changed since 2012.
Right.
So that is one. That is one solution that you can think about if you want them open earlier or later, or we can shift our employees' hours, or we can hire more.
We have what, a month, maybe
There's
month and a half
virtually
left.
5 weeks left of the season because most
'Cause
schools
kids-
start back middle of August.
Right. So
You mentioned that they're being kept open until 10 o'clock now.
That
Saturday
was
and-
just for this weekend to get us
Just-
through to get to this meeting to find out what you all want us to do.
But you're only doing that on Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Sure.
I
only
just
done it
did it
this
this
weekend.
weekend.
Only this
Of the issue
weekend.
came
yeah,
up.
so this will be up to you all if you want to extend the hours.
Yeah, we'll go back to 8 o'clock tonight, closing.
So is there a,
So what do you
so
want to do?
you
What-
haven't got the manpower, you're saying, you haven't got the manpower, 8 to 8, you have the manpower. After 8, you don't have the manpower. Before 8, you don't have the manpower, so you're opening 8 to 8 for the bathrooms. I don't hate that. Chief, is this something that your guys can maybe close at 9 or open at 7 or something? Open those doors at 7, they can still do their cleaning when they usually do, but you want that on them to be able to do something like that.
Come on, Chief.
We'll take direction from you, whatever you decide. We can lock them at 8:15, 9, it doesn't matter. The issue becomes is we're not going to go in and inspect. We're not cleaning it.
No.
So we're going to lock a dirty bathroom. We're going to make sure nobody's inside, and if there's damage, we'll call Matt and wake him up. But yeah, we're not going to clean it. So then we're going to lock potentially a dirty bathroom.
Yeah.
That's going to be opened in that same condition at 8 a.m.
Or earlier. Yes.
Sure.
Thank you, appreciate that.
One more thing I want to add is our deputy director, Vicky Todd, did some great work today. She called up and down the coast, all beach towns from Emerald Isle down to Myrtle Beach. Every little town that there is that has beach accesses and public bathrooms. And there's a wide range of, some have bathrooms, public bathrooms, some don't. Some of them are permanent structures. Our bathrooms are not theoretically made for the volume of people that we get. they're fairly nice bathrooms for maybe an event on a weekend and then go back to getting worked on. So all the thousands of people we have, especially over July 4th, Memorial Day weekend in the summer, it's a great volume of people. And to keep up with it it's difficult. But I mean, like I said, the times fluctuate from the different towns of 7 to 8, 8 to 8, 7 to 9. Some of them are 24 hours, but those are permanent structures that have concrete blocks and stainless steel appliances that you're not ripping off the walls. So just to give you a little bit of insight into different towns around the area. Ocean Isle, for example, is open from 8 to 9. Their bathrooms. So it's however you guys would like to proceed. We can work things around. I just thought, 8 to 8, my guys are getting in and out in the daylight and not taking a chance of any crazy business happening.
What would 7 to 9 do in terms of changing your staffing hours, the impact on the staff?
I mean, we could work with the new hires, work their schedules around to extend that 1 hour. Over July 4th, one of our guys was there till past 9 anyway, because everyone kept on using the bathrooms as he was trying to clean them. So, I mean, July 4th was outrageous with all the people, but that's an example. So, I mean, we can always work it out that way.
7 to 9 would almost reflect the hours, that we have now, daylight hours, up through into sort of the middle of September.
Okay. What about the winter time?
I don't think we're gonna have the problems in the wintertime. I mean, this
Not-
is
not
just
as-
basically
yeah,
a seasonal
Not as
thing.
far as volume, but we need
Memorial
to,
Day, Labor Day is our main influx of people.
right.
Yeah, I would go
But-
back, after that, go back 8 to 8, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But we're talking about this summertime, maybe try this. If you can work your guys around now, if you can work your guys around, try this and see how it goes.
Okay.
See how it goes.
Mr. Mayor,
We got some
Yes.
time.
number one, the vandalism has to stop. I can imagine how that mounts up. You don't have any dollar figures on what's been done so far.
No,
That's okay.
not over the years.
I like the idea. Put 2 porta johns out there and lock the bathroom. It obviously happens after dark. So I don't mean whether bad people come out after dark or maybe it's too much alcohol.
It's usually about 3 or 4 times a summer that we have weeks that, not consecutive weeks, but we have weeks that folks are just out there and don't know if they're kids or adults, whatever, but they're having fun in their mind and things happen. So can't pinpoint. There's not an exact day that this always happens or a week. So, I mean, it's just folks visiting and, things happen. So.
How many hours is it? 7 to 9? How many hours will it hit your dollar figure for your staff? I mean, you're talking about 2 hours a day, right?
Right.
14 hours a week.
Right. So, I mean, our department, our full-time maintenance department comes in at 7 anyway. But we're always out on the beach and mowing and doing whatever this time of year, as soon as we get to the shop.
Okay.
So the part-time, it would really affect the part-time. There's no reason why we couldn't go over there and unlock them quick. And when our full-time 8 o'clock employees get in, they can start on their maintenance of them and cleaning.
Now, what about the end of the day?
That would be the part-time
That'd be a
coming
part-time.
in. So I'd have to talk to them and extend their hours at least 1 hour a day. And right now they're scheduled Wednesday through Sunday.
Lisa, you?
We're good. We'll go 7 to 9
Fine.
for the remainder of the summer. Thank you.
You will.
Any more things under
Thanks,
general
Matt.
council discussion? If not, we'll be moving on to the public hearings part of our agenda. We'll be having the first up will be the non-conforming structures in the MR3 zoning district. Mr. Satterfield, if you just want to give a briefing before we open this up.
Sure, Mayor. Thank you. Staff has been asked to look into amending our code regarding non-conforming structures in the MR3 zoning district. We've taken it to our planning board twice, and the planning board does have a recommendation in front of this board that is in red and in your package. What it would allow a single-family home that was existing or vested prior to September 2023. That's when the new UDO was adopted. That does not conform regarding the interior setback can be expanded or enlarged, provided that enlargement or expansion does not create any new nonconformities, meaning can't be a rear setback issue or a front setback issue, and that expansion doesn't exceed 50% of the square footage of the home could occur. So imagine a house who wants to expand down their side, and they may only be 5 feet off the property line because of when they were built, that's what the requirement was. This would allow that expansion to occur. There's an example in your case summary of the exact situation in which our Board of Adjustment denied a variance for this. So that's kind of the idea or the reason why it's in front of you. Planning Board does recommend approval of this, and they do have a consistency statement. And following whatever action the board does do tonight, we do need a consistency statement ready for the record.
Do I have a motion to open up the public hearing?
Second.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public floor is now open. If anyone would like to speak in this matter, you're welcome to come up. Come up to the mic and you can ask the question.
You had a 5-foot setback.
Speak to the mic, please.
Hi, I'm Joe Cantoni. I just had a question, Mr.
We have your
Sedgwick.
name and address, please.
708 Riverside Drive. Okay.
I understand your question.
Yeah.
So imagine, if it's okay for council.
Yes, go ahead, go ahead.
So you have a house that's built, and your house was built to comply with the standards when it was built. It's only 5 feet off the property line.
Right.
And you want to expand, put another room, porch, whatever. Currently, the code will require you to meet the setbacks, which in this case is 7.5 feet. With this amendment, it would allow you to extend your wall of your home equal to your existing home.
Not into the 5 foot.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I wanted. Thank you.
Thanks for the question.
Anyone else? If not, do I have a motion to close this?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion about the council? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I don't know why I called it X. I wouldn't really know that. But anyway, next up, we'll be opening up. Do I have a motion to open up? I don't think we don't need to open it up again because it's already open for one. We don't have to do it for each
We
subject.
just need to
We need to vote.
vote on the ordinance, and we do need a consistency statement
Yes.
read.
Somebody got the consistency statement. Who's going to read it? Who's going to make the motion and read it, please?
I'll make the motion to allow existing or vested non-conforming single-family home structures in the MR3 zoning district to expand, I guess is the way you wrote it, right? And the conforming statement, the town of Sunset Beach hereby approves the proposed amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance and finds that it is neither consistent nor inconsistent with the town's comprehensive plan, 2017 Town of Sunset Beach Land Use Plan, as there are no specific policies pertaining to non-conforming lots, and 2, that it is in the public interest.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to our next, 334B, non-conforming structures in the MR3 zoning district ordinance adoption. Go ahead, Mr. Satterfield.
I believe you just took action on it.
Yeah, you just took it.
No,
We
okay,
just did that. We just did that.
I wonder why it had the same letters on there. But anyway, all right, that's over with. Do I have a motion to close this part out?
So moved.
Second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, sorry about that. Next up will be our public comments on agenda items. Come to the mic. You got 3 minutes. Please state your name and your address and go ahead with your subjects on agenda items. Go ahead.
Yes, my name is
Thank you,
Dana
Ron.
Reed. I reside at 808 Riverside Drive. And Mayor and Council, I would like to comment on agenda item 13.1 regarding creating a fee-supported canal dredging and maintenance district. By resolution, the council and mayor are being requested to establish one singular fee-supported canal and maintenance tax district to include the areas identified in the resolution in your packet. I contend that this is improper and not in accordance with the statutes, specifically in North Carolina Senate Bill 145. Nor does this reflect the canal dredging districts defined in our neighboring communities, such as Ocean Isle Beach and Holden Beach, for example. The purpose of defining a district is to tax properties for a unique service or project that benefits equally those within that district. The properties identified in the resolution are not contiguous and are not all on canals. Rather than one district, it appears that potentially each section listed may need to be defined as a separate district, as the dredging and maintenance service required for each of these areas are distinct. Additionally, the resolution as written notes the town has elected to impose costs per parcel. Per parcel assessment of fees may be appropriate for feeder channel and the finger channel, but certainly is not appropriate for other areas listed in this resolution. I'm curious why the council would elect to impose future dredging costs per parcel versus per lineal foot as allowed by the statute and is adopted by our neighboring coastal communities. A per parcel assessment is certainly not reflective of equitable benefit, as was discussed at length during the public hearing on June 13th. It appears the town is looking to shortcut the process of delineating a tax district or districts. It is my understanding, in accordance with 16537, establishing a tax district requires the following steps: a report which includes a map delineating clearly the boundaries of the district, a justification for the district, and a plan detailing what is to be funded by that district. 2, public review of that report at least 4 weeks prior to a public hearing. A public hearing where the public is engaged, and then also the acceptance for review of people who properties feel they should be excluded from the tax district. Only after consideration of all of the above can council adopt or deny a resolution for a specific tax district. The effective date of any tax district would only take effect after the fiscal year, the beginning of the fiscal year after that is voted on. So in the packet, as I understand it, in addition to basically saying the items, including Palm Cove, Palm Cove doesn't want to be taxed for dredging in the finger canals and feeder channel. Mary's Creek, Turtle Creek, they're not contiguous, not related at all. Their dredging needs are different than other areas that are listed in your resolution. The agenda suggests that you're all going to be asked to approve soliciting for a request for qualifications for a dredging plan. And it frankly seems to me that is definitely putting the cart before the horse. I think the tax districts need to be defined, and frankly, I'd encourage the council to consider other areas within Sunset Beach that may benefit from setting up a maintenance service district. Thank you.
Could you provide your notes to
Yep.
Ms. Rigsby, please? Thank you.
All right. Someone else like to speak?
My name is Ignacio Moreno. I live at 802 Riverside Drive. Will echo and support my neighbor Dana Reed's comments. I think they were appropriate. I think it's just my personal feeling is that it's disappointing that this town council is choosing to establish a district that will penalize small property owners by establishing a district that is by parcel rather than by linear feet. Your actions enrich large property owners in the town itself. You have 2 large properties that will be benefiting. This methodology will be subsidized by the small property families. Your actions are irrespective of what you're very well aware your peers in other shoreline communities have implemented, assessing per linear feet. Some of you have sat with and have asked questions of the adjoining communities with districts in place and cannot plead ignorance to this. You all know exactly how the other communities assess via linear feet, and that's the only fair way of doing it. You all should be ashamed of yourself, is what I have to say, if you proceed in this manner.
Thank you.
I'm Joe Cantoni, 708 Riverside Drive, and I support what Dana and Tony said. I just wish you would take the same listening and advice and support of the Canal folks that you claim to have taken for the parking on Main Street. Our comments matter. If you need to change the report based on our comments, or the standards or the plan based on our comments, please consider them. It seems like you have the ability to consider it for parking. You haven't considered a single one of our recommendations for the canal dredging. So on May 21st at the Brunswick County Shore Protection Consortium meeting, Mike Hargraves and John Corbett attended, as did Ocean Isle Beach Mayor Deborah Smith. At the 14:45 mark of the meeting, Councilman Corbett asked Mayor Smith, "How do you assess canal properties, by parcel or linear foot?" Mayor Smith responded, "By linear foot, I think it's the only fair way." That was 3 weeks before this council voted for parcel. When you heard from your peers that linear feet is the only fair way. In fact, your town council said, we make a compelling story, a compelling reason to go by linear feet, yet they chose to ignore your compelling reason. I just think you have an opportunity when you're creating this district to do it right. You have a chance to correct, as you said, Mike, past mistakes. Use this opportunity to correct mistakes. Stand up. Be big guys. Be honest to yourselves. You know this is wrong. You know the town should not be getting the benefit and paid for 320 people. It's just so wrong. I just wish you would see it and do the right thing. The last thing we said when I was in court, when we discussed this with the judge and Bouchard, Attorney Blanchard, Mike Brady, what's his name? Bouchard? Attorney Bouchard, and before the judge, we made a statement that you cannot charge us without having the canal district created. That's on the record. You should get the transcript. There was no objections to that. The judge heard it, and the judge told us, if you are assessed on that record, come into court. Where are we again? In court. If you guys had just picked linear feet, we wouldn't be in court at all. Please correct that. It's ridiculous that we have to sue the town with our own money to get them to do the right thing. We're just asking you to do the right thing. The last thing the judge said when we were in court, he said, the case is dismissed. Bring the case back if they assess you. I said, fine. I says, Your Honor, could you include in the order that they have to make the district the right way? And he says, what do you mean by the right way? He looked at me like, what are you talking about? I said, the right way means exactly what Dana laid out. You need to have a letter, a report. You need to publish the report for visibility. You need to also have 4 weeks of notice of mailings to all of us by first-class mail. Then you need to vote on it, and then it doesn't come into effect until the next fiscal year. And then you have to use the funds within 1 year or a reasonable amount of time. And if you don't do that, you shouldn't create the district. That's all I had to say.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, sir. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Kevin Armstrong, 806 Riverside Drive.
Could you speak into the mic with the whole thing, please?
Yeah, Kevin Armstrong, 806 Riverside Drive. I just want to reiterate what Dana said, that Ocean Isle has 3 taxing districts, and it appears that the the dredging needs will be different for different parts of our town. So it makes sense to make different taxing districts. Maybe one for Palm Cove by itself, maybe one for the finger canals, because all the homes on the finger canals, 90% of them are all the same size. So it wouldn't be an issue. And then Mary's Creek, the other ones, they're just different. So I think to try and have one taxing district is going to be a mistake. So I encourage you to try and to change to make the districts so that people can have the specific needs met for dredging. That's all I got to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir. You go.
Steve Britt, 313 Stokes Drive. I've been at every one of these meetings and I've listened and they've hit on it and we talked about it. But I'm going to go a little bit different route. For the most of you, I don't know about these two on the end, we're elected by the people. Right? Serve the people. Am I right? Is that how council gets elected? I don't know. I noticed something in y'all's meetings. Y'all never open in prayer. So I guess, do we all believe in God? I'm just asking.
That's personal. For God's sake,
That ain't personal.
Please.
That's open. Well, I'm going to tell you something.
Please.
Well,
Please.
There's no please. I'm going to tell you, please. We all going to give an account whether you believe in him or not. The man said, well, you can look at me and say what you want. I'm just telling you. I got my 3 minutes. The Bible allots most men or people 70 years. That's 70 years. Looking at you guys, most of you have reached that point. You ain't got to believe in God, but there is a God, and I'm gonna tell you. A man told me the other day, I'm a businessman. He said, you need to figure your life 10 years for every day of the week. Some people live a little longer. Some people don't live that long. I'm at Saturday in my life. For most of you, you done got your setting, but you need to do the right thing. You've been elected. You're supposed to do what you're supposed to do for the people. It is a shame that y'all have made some of the decisions you made for people. I don't like people spending my money. I told you from the very get-go, I don't mind paying more if you'd have done a good job. But this is the most poor managed thing I've ever seen in my life for a group of men that are, every one of them over 60, except maybe Shannon. Yeah, I know he's not. Close. And and your elected official is supposed to be working for the people. I don't understand. You're against the people. You might be for some of them, but you're against them. But I'm going to tell you, it don't matter about what y'all decide. I'll pay my money if I got to pay it, but you're going to answer for what you do. You can do anything you want to behind it. But I'm going to be man enough to tell you tonight, and I'll walk out of here, you're going to answer for everything you do wrong. Whether you believe in him or not, you're still going to answer for what you're doing. And if you can sit here and tell me that what you're doing is right, like the gentleman said, well, I go, shame on you. Because I'm going to tell you from this lady here, the first night I talked, and she was talking, and no offense, ma'am, I know you personally, about how they done it. It's all a joke. This is a big joke, every bit of it. But you'll give an account for it. You might not hear it, but I promise you, you will. You'll remember this conversation one day.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else on any regular agenda item? If not, we'll go to the next. Thank you. All right, now consent agenda. Does any member of council have anything here?
I have one thing.
Go ahead, sir.
On the minutes, page 20, item 12.2, appointments to Environmental Resource Committee. At that last meeting, the June 2nd meeting, we agreed to expand to 9 ERC members, and that got left off the minutes. So if you could add those back into the final one, please.
Anyone else got any questions?
No.
I'm good.
If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving on now, town administrator report. Okay, yes. Any department heads that doesn't have anything left, you're welcome to go. Thank y'all. Go ahead, Miss Amy.
Thanks, Alan. As Councilman Hargraves alluded to, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Main Street parking as well, and give you some numbers from the paid parking so far. The Main Street parking project is out for bid now, and the bids are expected back on July 22nd. The council will consider awarding the contract during the August 4th meeting, and if they vote to move the project forward, there will be a notice to proceed of September the 8th with a completion date of December the 12th. There is a link on the website now that will take you to the plans that have been developed and approved by DOT to go out to bid. And I'm right, Kimberly? Yes. It, as with anything, they are large and it'll take you a while to download them. And we do have paper set here if you would like to make an appointment and come by town hall and review them. You're more than welcome to do that. For the paid parking for June, the town received $68,467 in net revenue. And this month we expended $43,223. And that was for the engineering of the Main Street surveying, the CAD, the GIS, and the mapping. That brought us to the point of getting to DOT. Just to give you some numbers from the beginning of the paid parking process, from when people could start purchasing permits, there have been 16,169 permits purchased. 2,017 of those are from residents or property owners. 7,359 are hourly passes. Day passes, 5,443. Week passes, 186. And year passes, 1,164. Between AutoConnect and the town police department, they have issued 1,709 tickets. And of those violations, 1,479 have been paid. Since I was on the website today, gathering all this information, I went ahead and looked for the July figures. The net revenue through July 13th is $336,453. And Kimberly will put these numbers on the website. So those will be there in the frequently asked questions section that Mike referenced as well. Just a couple other things for you. Hurricane reentry passes were mailed back in May to the island homeowners. We did receive some of the passes back because we do address correction requests to the post office. Those corrections have been made and those passes were mailed out again last week. If in a week or so you still have not received your hurricane passes, please call town hall. We always get extras because it just seems like since COVID, mail just doesn't seem to get everywhere all the time. So we do have extra passes if you are in need of them. The current projects, in addition to the Main Street, Catchment 7, which is a stormwater project, which is going on from 4th to 6th Street. This is a pipe replacement project. Once it gets to 6th Street, it will turn and go down to Canal, and then turn over and go out Canal A. This project is also out for bid now with those same exact dates of July 22nd, August 4th award, September 8th notice to proceed, and December 12th date for completion. The Jinx Creek realignment project, council will be considering awarding the contract to Coastal Protection Engineering of North Carolina later during this meeting, and we'll talk about that when we get to that point. And then the Majestic Oak Park, the engineers are finalizing the plans and will be submitting the CAMA major permit application soon. And as I always report, lastly, I continue to block off every Thursday afternoon for any of you who would like to come in and and speak with me and ask any questions. I try to be available. I'll be glad to answer any
Anybody got any
questions.
questions for Ms. Hanlon? No. That was good. All right. Moving on now, old business, 13.1, resolution establishing fee-supported canal dredging and maintenance district and grant authority to solicit requests for qualifications for engineering firms to assist with the development of dredging and maintenance plan. Go ahead, Ms. Hanlon.
-1.
And this is the resolution establishing the fee-supported canal dredging and maintenance district. And I am asking for authority to solicit requests for qualifications for the engineering and consulting firm to assist the town with developing the maintenance dredging plan.
You have in your packet
Yep.
you have in your packet a resolution that I've reviewed at my office to create the fee-supported canal dredging and maintenance district that I would recommend council approve and authorize the mayor to enter into. If at some point down the road facts arise that may warrant amending your resolution for whatever reason, certainly do so. But right now, this is for the areas listed.
I have a couple questions actually.
Go ahead.
The first thing that jumped out at me is inclusion of Palm Cove in this district.
Palm Cove was included in this district because I don't know what the outcome of their proposed project will be. And if they are successful with that project moving forward and going to completion, they will need to be dredged and maintained in the same manner as all the other areas.
Yeah, anything else? Question?
Yeah. I wasn't clear when I read this. It sort of seemed to me that the second part of it, grant the authority to solicit requests for qualifications from engineering consulting firms to assist the development of dredging and maintenance plan. That would be sort of the first thing to do, to come up with a qualified analysis of the area in determining what should be included, what should not be included, and then after that, go back and establish the fee-supported canal dredging. Somewhere in that process is also going to be a recommendation of what the fees would be. And again, I think the engineering consulting firm work that's done up front would be the one that would contribute to help determine what the fees should be. And that's not even taking into consideration the comments that were made today about multiple different districts being included in there. So it seemed that we were wrapping up too much.
So
all
this
in
is
the
the scope of
first
work
step.
that the engineers and consultants will be asked to look at and determine and tell us what is the best way for their inclusion into a project, into a plan that will go into the future of the dredging and maintenance areas. And as Grady said, if it is determined that through that planning process with the engineers and consultants that the districts need to be, or a different type of district setup needs to be looked at, the council can amend the resolution at that point to establish 1 or 10 or 20 or 5 or however many districts you want to set up. And those would include different assessment amounts for those fees.
Potentially.
So what I'm hearing is that this does not lock us in to a plan, to cost, to a methodology. It's just a starting point to get the engineers to come and start looking at it and give their expert opinions on how to do it. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct.
I have,
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Please,
Go ahead.
I have one question, however, and the fact is if you look at the resolution itself, we established a fact already, and they're saying about the fact that the town of Sunset Beach to impose a canal dredging and maintenance fee per unit or parcel. We've locked it in on that again, without talking about the possibility of any other way. And I think once we start putting things into writing, we're going to be locked in 7 years from now when we go back at it. So I think we've got to leave that sort of open if we're going to look at it without going into that type of detail.
Well, it says maintenance fee per unit or parcel.
Yeah,
hmm
but.
So it could go either way.
But it doesn't, it's not, what about, is parcel considered linear foot?
hmm
So to expand what Michael said now, so the talk about linear feet or parcel is still wide open, even if we pass this thing for future dredging.
Mhm.
That would be something we'd have to decide when we receive the dredging project, how we want it to be paid for.
Once the plan is established and we've held the public hearings and the notices and we finally get down to adopting the plan, that is where it would all tie together.
Okay. And so that's where it could be changed from parcel to linear feet, left at parcel. We could do whatever.
You could do
council could do
some
whatever.
parcel and you could do some linear feet.
Okay.
It'll just depend on the areas and what the engineers and consultants recommend as they go through the analysis of each of these areas.
Okay, so when you have written here, in what Michael read, maintenance fee per unit or parcel. Fee per unit could be by linear feet, by unit being a linear feet, linear foot, you're saying? Okay.
Correct.
Okay, okay, that's what.
Please. Go ahead. Did you have something else?
I'm trying to.
I thought you did.
I'm working on it here. Seems to me that the second whereas is redundant at this stage. Because the first one imposed a canal dredging and maintenance fee per unit or parcel. And the second one says that the town of Sunset Beach has elected to impose the cost for canal dredging and maintenance per parcel. You know, that's even.
It could be considered redundant. And you could strike
For-
it.
I think we should strike it.
Mhm.
I agree with that. Do you see that? Yes. Okay.
But the key thing is this doesn't lock us in.
Yes.
It doesn't
just
do.
starts the process.
It doesn't do what happened in November 2020 when the council voted to do it by parcel versus by linear foot.
This is a resolution setting up an original district with the properties that are identified so that you can move forward on the scope of work for the request for proposals that Lisa's recommending that we proceed with. If, in moving forward in the future, council wishes to amend this resolution for whatever reason based on whatever facts may arise in the future, you may certainly do so.
Sir, you can't, you're not really supposed to speak out of thing. They doing this. I'm sorry. That's just the rules of council.
So Lisa, you feel there's flexibility to look forward and what happens next, to plan what happens next, and to make decisions that will be for best for the community at that point.
Yes, sir.
So if you get to voting tonight on this, which is where y'all headed, where you gonna vote it down or not, this first whereas, which is the number 2 on the first page, where it says per parcel, are you gonna strike that? Are you looking to strike that instead of just signaling it out per parcel?
Yeah, we look
It's the same one on the next page, which says per parcel. The first one says or.
The first one says or.
Or,
The
yes.
second one we're striking out,
Yes.
which
And
just
what
says
about the third one? Because it says it again, to be collected per parcel. So are you looking to strike that one at too?
Oh, good point.
that should just be changed to be per parcel or
Linear feet. That's That's your only choice? Is that your only choices?
Or per unit. No, wait a minute.
They say it said per.
First one said
It should be,
per unit or parcel. Second one said
it-
parcel only. Third one said
at this,
parcel only.
at this point, it should be per linear foot or parcel. That should be the terminology that we have in there. Right?
For all three? Or just the first one?
Well, we're going to drop the
First
second
one, so
one.
she's gonna drop the second one. What about the third one? What's gonna be in it?
It should
Before
be
y'all bring us forward.
What was your question, Mr. Corbett?
the either or in this should be per linear foot or per parcel as the two main options that we have.
So you've got the North Carolina general statutes
Yeah.
being read in conjunction with local legislation by way of Senate bill and House bills. Okay. You've got in Senate, you've got, we'll just call it the session laws. You've got references to linear foot and per parcel. The general statutes have per unit or parcel. Let me actually get this right. Please stop.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Listen,
Sir,
I'm just
you
a
can't
lawyer.
take that to the-
I'm not sitting here to be ridiculed. You can do your business in court. You understand? I'm just a town attorney. I'm trying to give this town advice. I know you don't like it.
Let's end this, guys. Let's get on with the matter at hand. You got any more questions?
238 says at an equal rate per unit of area. A unit of area, in my opinion, can also include parcels. It can include linear footage. The session laws use different language that includes per parcel or by linear foot. I don't think they're inconsistent with each other. That's why, to me, per unit or per parcel is entirely consistent and includes by linear foot. If you want to include per unit or per linear foot or per parcel, okay. I just don't believe, I believe that the statutes read in conjunction with the session laws already include that, but if it makes you feel better, that's fine too.
It would make me feel better.
Okay.
The first paragraph there, the first or the third whereas really on the first page, and where it says maintenance fee per unit or parcel, we would like to say per linear feet or linear foot or parcel.
Grady, you mentioned three terms that could be used.
What I read is the third whereas. Whereas the General Assembly of North Carolina granted authority to the town of Sunset Beach to impose a canal dredging and maintenance fee per unit, which is in 168-238, or parcel, which is in the session laws. You can also say including, you can say per unit, comma, including per linear foot, comma, or parcel. Okay?
I think that's great advice.
You can then delete, on the basis of the redundancy, the fourth whereas. You go to the final whereas.
Right at the end.
To be collected per parcel, comma, or per unit, comma, including per linear foot.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And you can make a motion to enter into that resolution as amended on the record, and between Ms. England and I, we can work on revising it to conform to what the motion is tonight.
All right. I think that wording is fair.
Any more discussion? Yeah. If not, do I have what's the pleasure of council?
I'm going to suggest we table that until we see the final executed document from.
Which is fine. I don't believe without a resolution that we can take the next step. So this would kick things out until probably your August meeting.
Which I don't have a problem with, but I'm from the school of.
What is the impact of that? Is there any negative impact of pushing it out to August?
No.
I'm not in disagreement, but I'd like to see the final copy.
Perfectly fine with me.
We got a motion.
So the motion is to table
it. Do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second that.
Which I believe, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
if you want to make your vote, and then I can weigh in on the rest.
Now go ahead, because we had a motion, we got a second, go ahead.
I believe if that motion passes, it would render the remainder of 13.2. Okay. All right. So, okay. Never mind.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Nope.
All in favor of the table it? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Get that straight. All right, moving on next. Our CPE service agreement and scope of work for Jinx Creek Phase 1, Ms. Anglin.
Okay, you have the staff report and you had an opportunity to read the history behind what has gotten us here for the Palm Cove community. We have the MOA that a town attorney and their attorney has worked out. Now we're to the point of dealing with the RFQs. We submitted for RFQs. We had 5 firms: Coastal Protection Engineer, Coastal Science Engineer, Moffitt Nickel, TI Coastal, and Gagan and Bryant. Those were reviewed by town staff and Palm Cove representatives, and the group was unanimous in ranking Coastal Protection Engineers of North Carolina at the top of the list. And since we have been a couple of years into this process, I met last week with representatives of CPE and Palm Cove to make sure that they are still wanting to continue forward with this project, and they do. So I just need you to award the contract to CPE for their abbreviated scope of work, which will bring us through phase 1 and 2. And those will get us to the agencies with enough detailed information for the agencies to be able to give us an indication as if to the viability of this project.
Quick question. This would include phase 2?
This
Or just phase 1?
includes phase
Task 1 and 2.
Task 1 and 2, but it's
task 1 and 2.
okay.
Phase 1, task 1, task 2.
Thank you. That's
Sorry.
right. Thank you.
It's a pleasure of council in regards to this issue.
And just to clarify, the residents, the citizens in Palm Cove have reviewed, are comfortable with this, like all the terms.
Representatives of the POA board
Yeah.
are the representatives that we met with,
Okay.
which is who the MOA is with.
All right. Good.
And for anything to move forward, the town doesn't do anything until the MOU or the MOA is met by Palm Cove, which means the deposit of money of 125% of the projected contract cost, which necessarily means that Palm Cove would have to support it. I'm assuming they're going to be raising the money from assessments inside of Palm Cove.
It's a pleasure of council.
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve the contract for phase 1 of the eastern channel of Jinx Creek realignment project not to exceed $91,071. If the contract is approved, funding will be addressed. Oh, never mind.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next up, Eastern Channel of Jinx Creek realignment project funding requirements. You've got Tara down on this one, but
I do,
you wanna
because
take it
it's
or-
dealing with
okay.
finance, but
Okay.
I'll start it off and then
Okay.
she can
She-
weigh in
okay.
if you need her to.
okay.
So the MOA specifies that the association has to deposit up to 125% of all project cost into an escrow account. So a separate fund will be established with Grady's office, and then a separate checking account will be established for the town. And the way that the process will work is that the invoices will come in, they will be moved from the escrow account into the checking account, and the invoices paid through that checking account. Then when the grant reimbursement is sent to the state, then the state will deposit back into that checking account.
Ms. Nichols and I are working through the mechanics of how to set up this account for the benefit of the town. We have to make sure that we are satisfying the town's auditors. And so it may be that we'll have to come up with some different mechanism, but at the end of the day, the account mechanism will work the way Lisa just described it in the term overall of protecting the town. The money will be there. It'll be held by an account that may have a broker managing it, but for the benefit of the town, some of this tax stuff is above my head, but at the end of the day, we want to keep your auditors happy. Set up an account that your auditors are happy with, and make sure that Palm Cove approves of it and the town's protected with the deposit of funds.
Pleasure of council.
Like to make a motion? Make a motion. We move to approve the resolution to establish a capital project fund for the eastern channel of Jinx Creek realignment project. Do I have to read more there, Lisa? Read it more? Okay. In addition, the council is requested to adopt a capital project ordinance for the eastern channel of Jinx Creek realignment project, recognizing the total project cost of $3,976,500,000 million. The grant funds of $2,982,375 and Palm Cove POA funds of $994,125.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next up is approval of professional services agreement with Anchor Point Planning, LLC for comprehensive land use plan. Ms. Angler?
Thank you, Mayor. And this is just housekeeping. You had already approved the land use plan with Wes McLeod when he was still with Cape Fear Council of Governments. Over the last couple of months, Mr. McLeod has decided to open his own firm, Anchor Point Planning, LLC. The town has a long-standing history with Wes McLeod, and we'll be using his planning services for other areas of town. So this is just a housekeeping contract for you all to sign.
I got a question.
Sure.
Why don't we go to a competitive bid on this?
We can if you want to go.
My thing is we keep going back to the same consultant for every little piece. We form a relationship that it's hard to break away from. It's good to see every now and then if we're going to get the fair cost.
It is.
Okay.
And if you want to do that, we can do that.
I prefer to do that on a couple of them, but this one. Okay, we're already paying about $135,000 for this year's planning. Plus we add this, and even if you split this in half, you're talking about another $33,000. There's a lot of money going into one particular firm. And I think we should try to see if somebody else can do it. Maybe there's somebody who has a fresh outlook since Wes was on it originally.
We could do that. Is that the pleasure of other council members?
Pleasure of council. I mean, you'd have to make a recommendation.
Yeah, you
That's
just
what
need
you don't
to approve for me to
Yeah.
draft an RFP to go out for the land use plan update.
One of the questions we had earlier was, why don't we go back to the Council of Government, where this firm originally was? The members of that Council of Government pulled out from the Council of Government, set up this firm.
Is there a question? I'm sorry.
Why don't we go back to the Council of Government?
I don't know that they have any planners right now.
That's what I understand also. I understand their planners have gone away, so.
I think this came up for the last meeting with Anchor Point. It was that Wes and Ron had a history with the town, been doing work with the Cape Fear Council of Governments, and so that transition was a little more convenient at the time. Given what Mr. Posdal was talking about with the competitive bidding for the, as I understand it, changing, or you're looking at revising your ordinance.
It's a land use plan.
Well, this is for the land use plan.
Right. And I don't know what your time frame is, so.
we've waited long, 7 years or 8 years since we last did it. And we said to 2026 was, we expected it to be done, or 2027. So, I mean, we've got time. And since most of the plan has been done once before, it shouldn't be that difficult to use some of that framework again, although change everything you're doing about it.
That would be up to the RFPs,
Mhm.
the engineering firms, consultants that we get back. So if that's the pleasure of council, we can certainly put out an RFP.
What's your pleasure, council?
I'm okay with an RFP.
I'm okay with doing that. I think we should be a better,
Yeah.
good custodian of the finances of the community and the budget and all that. So it's good to do. It just delays a little bit, but we'll have to see what happens.
All right. So you're just gonna give consent, there's consent there, go out with RFP, please?
Yes.
And we'll go back from there. All right, moving on. Discussion action regarding the Board of Adjustment vacancy. Mr. Nern?
During the 4/7/2025 council meeting, we appointed Reed Watson to the Board of Adjustment. Anybody who would take part in a suit against the town has no place sitting on this board. Too much conflict. And asked directly if he was involved in the suit. Let's say his answers were less than honest. I have a motion. Set aside prior decision made during the 4/7/2025 council meeting to appoint Reed Watson to the Board of Adjustment.
There's a motion on the floor. Pleasure of council, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Moving on next, new business. Approval of task order 39 with McGill Associates for Seaside Station Pond Dredging Project. Ms. Anglin?
Thanks, Mayor. This we also discussed during budget. We have a town master service agreement with McGill Associates to perform surveying, mapping, bid, construction administration services. We are looking at the ponds that are in the Seaside Station development. Some of those are starting to fill in with sediment and everything over the years. Those are stormwater ponds for that area, and we need to have those surveyed to see if they are going to need to be dredged out in the future or not.
Yes, will this consulting firm be able to tell us, and I don't know, as part of their package, to tell us what it's going to cost when we finally do the dredging to move all that stuff out? Do you have any idea? Because this is a piecemeal project.
Cost.
Yeah, it's a piecemeal. You're going to pay for the engineering, and then you got to pay to have it all moved.
Right.
So it's piecemeal. It'd be nice to know what where the package is going to be.
Until they are able to determine the volume, I don't think they would be able to put a price.
So after they determine the volume, then when we would be in a position to go out to an RFP to get
Yes.
vendors to bid on doing this job.
Yes.
And their goal is to give us some financial, what it would cost to do this, or approximately what it would cost. Okay.
Is
Good.
both the consulting and the actual work somewhere in our budget?
No. Just the this engineering is there
Okay.
to get us to that point.
So what happens when we find out we need, let's say, $500,000? What do we do?
Then we come back to you.
Or go into the next budget cycle.
Or go into the next
Yeah.
budget
Go into the next
cycle or
budget
phase
cycle
it out.
and consider.
Mm-hmm.
for
You can do it
coming
in
back to later on,
phases.
doing
You could, you know,
phases.
just like the stormwater plan was developed and
Well-
over a 10-year
Yeah.
period, you can do that.
And the ponds have to be dealt with. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah.
But I just am interested that we don't go crazy with budget.
No, I wouldn't.
No, that's, we could break it up, like you said, with the stormwater management plan, it was 10 years. We could do a pond a year or something. If it
Yeah.
Well,
Well, the stormwater also came up with a prioritization of which ones needed to be done worse,
That's right.
more than the other ones to do that.
Point.
Correct.
So what's the pleasure of staff in regards to this?
I'd like to make a recommendation.
Staff, council.
Recommend that we approve task order 39 with McGill Associates and authorization for the town administrator to execute the task order.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
members
sir.
of council, you wish for me to sit around for the rest of
No,
this?
sir.
No.
I think you good. Yes, sir. Municipal Code Ordinance Amendment 13007, Ken. Speak on up there to the mic. Speak on up to the mic.
This is essentially housekeeping. We amended on April 3rd, 2023, 95.16, which is public nudity. And that 95 section is specific for the beach strand. However, that section does read in any public street or any public park. But 95 is reserved for beach strand. In 130.07, which is general offenses, the exact same language they amended in 2023 is there. My recommendation is to amend 130.07 as shown so it mirrors 95.16.
What's the pleasure of council in regards to this? I think it's pretty explanatory.
Yep.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to make them both the same, section 130.07 and section 95.17.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed? Thanks, Ken. Next up, disposition of directives, the resolution on the resolution on dredging. Since it got tabled, we'll look to address that again maybe in August. Anything else? Any member of council have anything else that needs to be added?
Not at this time for
Okay.
me.
If not, then we'll go to public comments. Public comments on anything. You're welcome for 3 minutes, please. Space your name and your address.
Joe Cantoni, 708 Riverside Drive. Shame on you. What is this? The Scarlet Letter? You're chastising Reed Watson in public? I've only known Reed to be honest. If you want to look at dishonesty, take a self-reflection. Reed is an honorable man who would have done a great job for you, and you shamed him in public. It's a matter you should have held in private. You guys are awful for that. That's terrible. How would any of you put yourself in that position and like that? That's just, I can't even express it. It just reflects poorly on you all.
Well, none of us lie.
Sir,
Charlie.
So let me talk about the truth on the dredging district. Section 238 does not, of the special assessment, does not require a maintenance or dredging fee district. You've done it. You've done it since 2022. I'm sorry, 2002. And I'm going to read the language. The fees shall be made on the basis of the following. 1, the frontage of boarding. This is 145. This does require a maintenance district. The frontage abutting the project at an equal rate or per unit or parcel of property. That's 145. You do need a dredging district for that. For district, which the special assessment 238, you don't need a district. You've gone through the hoops on that already. It says linear foot, unit of area. Anyone who thinks a unit of area is a parcel and not a square foot, a square meter, an acre, never finished second grade. Certainly didn't finish the military academy. Parcel is not a unit of area. Length times width is a unit. It's like saying a street is a unit of length. It's ridiculous. Now, when you guys had this from 2002, it was under section 238 special assessments by linear foot. And it was that way for 20 years until May of 2020, when John Corbett proposed parcel as a unit of area. John, you were wrong. So we challenge that in court. As soon as we get to court,
You need to stop the personal.
as soon as we get
stuff
to,
on there.
as soon as
No,
we,
no personal, please.
as soon as we got to court, oh, the statute section 238, oh, that doesn't apply. We're not going by that. Why? Because parcel was recognized as not being an accepted method per Jan Harris, Councilman Harris's recommendation or statements in your meetings told you parcel, you're setting yourselves up for a legal suit. Sure enough, you did. When the attorney Bouchard said, oh, they're right, parcel isn't work, you guys flipped over right away to 145 that grants parcel. Except for 145, you didn't do anything. You never created the fee district. You never collected fees. You never sent us notice of fees. You didn't put the fees in an annual account. You didn't use that account to pay just for the dredging.
Enough. Okay, sorry.
So I'm telling you, if you think about what you've done, you're the dishonest ones. Mr. Reed Watson is honest. You shouldn't do a scarlet letter thing here.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Ignacio Marino, 802 Riverside. I second what Mr. Cantoni said. I'll also make note of a comment that Ms. Anglin said earlier about stormwater being funneled from 4th and 5th into Canal Finger A. You continue to dump the stormwater and the runoff into the canals, and you expect the few people that live on it to pay for the cleanup. Again, shame on you. You better think about, if you have any honorableness in you, think about how you establish your districts going forward, so there's equitable sharing of costs for what everybody benefits from.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Reed Watson, 1522 Riverside Drive. I won't single Charles out, but I will say this. When I made my statement, I was not on the lawsuit at that time. And I said I aligned with the plaintiff because state protocols and statutes were not followed properly. Since that time, after the June 13th hearing we had here, myself and a few others have joined the plaintiff officially. So get your timeline straight, get your facts straight, because I did not lie. Yeah, it's laughable. You are.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Anyone else? All right. If not else, nothing else. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.